Today we're going to go over, this is something that has been requested by several of the reps. So something that we wanted to include in here. We're going to talk a little bit about takeoffs, drawing basics, and reading plans. So RCPs, elevations, and whatnot. So there we are again, always the same. Do you want to go over the overview of the thing or just get started?
We can do it really quickly. So again, in case there's anyone who hasn't joined us before, this is a 12-session program that's all about giving you all more confidence to get in the field, talk about acoustics. So we're going to talk about some of the behaviors that we found that are making people successful, and then some of the tools and tactics that Daniel typically covers in his sessions. So kind of 6 of one and 6 of the other, 12 total sessions. I believe, just to let everyone know, Daniel will be joining you all in San Diego. I already had a vacation scheduled 6 months ago, and I'm really angry now that I started talking to Keith about all the activities and cool stuff going on. I'm kind of angry that I can't go. I literally considered moving my trip. But so Daniel and Kevin will be joining, and so we won't be doing a creating your acoustic edge session during that week, and we're just going to tag that one on to the very end. I think it's going to be like the first week of September, something like that. So thank you all for joining us, as we always say, and let's get started.
Yeah. So first, we're going to start with takeoffs. I have a quick question, and this is going to be a poll in the chat that'll pop up here momentarily. Who should perform the takeoff for projects? You guys can take a moment and just kind of answer the poll there.
Give you 10 seconds.
Sorry, where's the poll?
It should be in your chat, or you might have to hit the little 3 dots in the bottom corner, and then there's a thing on there with polls. This is how you can get to it.
We got votes coming in. This is exciting. That person.
I think the time
Welcome
expired,
all.
guys. Yep.
Yeah, we have a poll going on if you want to hop in.
I think it expired, but
The poll expired? No, the timer expired.
oh, the timer expired.
We can
Whole time
polling.
expired. Yes.
Okay. So what do we got? What are some answers? I can't see the results.
Let me check in. Okay. Doing a lot of things here. All right. We have the most votes for contractor.
Okay.
Half of that same amount of votes says mode 1775, and we just got another vote for contractor. We have
Okay.
0 for national.
All right. That is something I love to see, because the answer here is there's actually a wrong answer only, and the wrong answer is national. You guys should do the takeoffs. You're not expected to. It should be reliant on the contractors and 1775. So let's talk a little bit about if a contractor does the takeoff, some of the pros. So they'll always have the full set of plans, right? They're always going to have access to everything that they need. They're going to have an understanding of the full scope, and any errors that happen in a takeoff falls directly onto them. Some of the cons with them doing the takeoffs, it relies on their understanding of our products, which sometimes it is the lack of understanding there. If there are errors, it's really hard for us to catch them and say, hey, we noticed something different that wasn't accounted for. There's also no visibility into additional opportunity from this project. So what I mean by that is a lot of times we might be in there as specified for mode wood acoustics, but there are there's a lot of Artura or turf or a lot of felt products in there that we could also do and be a single source supplier for them. If they're doing the takeoff and just telling us what they need, we don't have visibility into these plans and into this project to know, hey, we can expand our wallet share. We can say, hey, here's your quote for this, but also we do felt as well. And we can do all these other products for you. And you only have a single source supplier. You don't have to work with multiple manufacturers, right? So there's a big benefit to us being able to do that takeoff and us having those plans. So that leads right into the 1775. What are the pros of us, 1775 in mode? What are the pros of us doing it? We have our understanding of our products. So a lot of times, even in drawings, there could be details that aren't quite right or things that are maybe specified just a little bit incorrectly. It happens all the time. Well, we have an understanding of our products and how they go into spaces so that we can see where there is potential errors, understand how to quote, what needs to be quoted, all that kind of stuff. We can find the errors in those detailed drawings where it has, hey, these are going to be direct mounted to something that it can't be direct mounted to, or something along those lines, right? We can see those kind of errors, let them know up front, hey, from an installation standpoint, we're recommending this. We can make recommendations on changes to things that we wouldn't be able to do without doing the takeoff. We have a full understanding of our hardware, what's needed from that standpoint, and we have the ability to identify the additional opportunity within the project, right? We can see that there are competitors out there that have specified products, and we can go after those and increase our wallet share and increase our project value. For the cons, we rarely have a full set of drawings, right? Which sometimes can make it difficult to see some of those things. Contractors, even though every quote says sizes and quantities are the responsibility of the contractor to verify, and they need to be, confirmed prior to PO, they don't always do that, right? So if there is an error, we can fall back on, hey, you were supposed to verify this. But a lot of times it can cause some potential issues down the road. When it has, we do a really good job of overcoming those obstacles. But that is one of the cons. Assumptions. There are times where we make assumptions without having to talk to, the contractor, and those assumptions can lead to miscommunication. That's a rare thing, but it is something that could happen. The last one is it does require shop drawings. So anytime we're doing a takeoff, we're going to require shop drawings. That helps with making sure that if they don't verify before they place an order, that once the shop drawings get in there, they can say, hey, you're missing this whole section, or you're missing this baffle, or whatever it might be. And we can, resolve that then. But that's kind of the pros and cons of both of us or the contractor doing the takeoff. Either one is fine. We are happy to do takeoffs. We read plans, understand plans, and do them all the time. We're trained for that. But Brock has a question.
I do. Should we be asking questions during the session, or do you want us to use the chat room? Do you want to cover at the end? I know last time.
Yeah. So we throw them in the chat, but we'll address them kind of after each slide. We won't wait till the end. We don't have as much content today, so I'm not as pressed for time as we were with the wood one. So we can go through the chat at the end of each slide.
So Lexi has a question.
Yep.
She wrote, I will have this come up though when the designer wants a quote. They send elevations to scale with no dimensions.
Yes. We do our best, right? If we can't, we want a full set of plans, but a lot of times we don't get it. We just get elevations. And sometimes it's even images of PDFs. And we do our best. We have ways of finding things in there to create a scale on it. And if there's truly no way for us to find a scale, we'll let you know, hey, we need additional information, and we'll let you know what that is. But start with what they give you and say, hey, can you do a takeoff with this? We'll go through everything and let you know if there's additional information that we need. So
Do we use like software like Bluebeam to get dimensions?
Yes, we use Bluebeam. So we have, like I said, when we have ways to do that, it's the software that we use. What you will see in the future, we are working on doing this now. So we're working on an output that when we do a takeoff, it's a very easy to send over. So the contractor can see our takeoff and help them verify what we've done and understand where things are. The tricky part to that is if you don't have Bluebeam and you're trying to open this with Adobe or some other PDF viewer, the file size becomes, there's so many additional things that get entered in there. It makes Adobe and those other PDF viewers run really, really slow, and it's super frustrating. So we're trying to find a really quick way or a really good format that we get those sent off. But we should be able to see those by the end of the quarter. So by July 1, all projects that we do a takeoff, when we send a quote over to Randy, we are also going to send that takeoff as well, so he can distribute that to your contractors and architects.
Thank you, Alma, for the question. Appreciate that.
Yep. So for takeoffs, what is it that we need or want, right? So you can see there, full set is bold. That is preferred. If you can get a full set of plans, we prefer that over anything because it allows us to see the details. It allows us to connect everything together. A lot of times an elevation gives you the general, scope of what you need, but there's details that when you connect all the drawings together that tell you things that you might not know otherwise, right? And so that's what's preferred. Some of the other things that we do want: finish schedules, reflected ceiling plans or RCPs, floor plans, elevations, detail drawings, and the specification document. The specification document is really what we need when we're doing a value engineer. If there's, hey, this product is specified, but we want to use yours, what alternate do you have? That specification document is going to tell us exactly what is expected, and so that we can align the best product for it. Again, you can see down here in the corner, original PDFs as a file type. A lot of people try to do screenshots, or they take their PDF, the original PDF, and then print it to PDF to reduce the file size. That at times can mess with scaling when we're trying to scale the project and take scales and dimensions and stuff. So our preferred is original PDFs as the file type, and utilize file share platforms. If you ever need something, we can send you a link to our Google Drive that is shared between us and National that you can upload them there. Zip files is another one, or you can do, WeTransfer, Dropbox. There's tons of file sharing platforms out there to get those larger files that you can't really send through email. For Randy and the customer service team that you have, your project coordinators, when they're submitting the request to us, they can upload, I think it's up to 100 megabyte files. So you can upload pretty large files into that as well. So now, before we move on, I'm going to talk about a little bit of these, what these plans are. So a reflected ceiling plan is just that. It's a top down of what it looks like, but it's the reflected version of that on the ceiling. So we get to see what ceiling that they're going to put on there, whether it's ACT grid or where their baffles are, where their lights are, all that kind of stuff. You're going to see that in a reflected ceiling plan. There are things in there that can be tricky where there's soffits and coves and things like that. That's why we would really like the details on there. But that's what a reflected ceiling plan is. It's basically telling you what material is going where on the ceiling of the building. The floor plan, exact opposite of that. That a lot of times is a very clean look at just the outer dimensions of the space, which can come in handy when we're doing takeoffs. Elevations are any of the walls, so all the product that goes on the walls. So that's what an elevation is. It's going to tell you what's going on the wall. And then the detail drawings are connection points, where there might be a notch or a cove or a soffit or anything along those lines. That's where you're going to find in the details, in the detail drawings. And then the specification document just tells you what products are there. Okay. So another question came in, and Rob took care of that one. So now we're going to go key details of drawings through the walk, and I'm going to do a walkthrough of a full set that we have. And as we go through, we're going to talk about, and I meant to change this, and I will before this gets sent out. I have a page number. What I mean is sheet number. So where you find the sheet number, where it's located, what it means, the drawing number, these are going to be indicated on each quote. So each quote is broken down into groups, and there's a header on there that it tells you where the location and what the call tag is for the product. And so it'll help coordinate the quote to the plans, and it'll make it easy for the contractors and architects to know which groups go with what. We're going to talk about sheet notes, cut throughs, and scale. Any questions before I start on our walkthrough? Okay. I am going to gotta share a different screen here. There we go. Okay. So, whoops, that's the wrong screen that I'm sharing. My apologies. I'm just going to do it this way. This is a project that we have that we got a full set for. We don't give a lot of them, but it makes it easy to kind of go through and explain. What one of the things will help explain is why we want full sets, right? So we're going to start with a sheet number. The sheet number is located down here. So each sheet of the plan has a number that starts with a letter, and then it's a letter or a combination of letters and then some numbers. This indicates what type of drawing there are. You'll see some that are like A is all architecture, right? P is going to be plumbing, E is electrical. We're only going to ever deal with the A plans, but that is your sheet number. The drawing number is then, and I'm going to go to one that has multiple drawings here. So here is the drawing number. We'll zoom in. Each individual drawing on this sheet has a footer with the information about where it's located, what you're looking at, and then it has this number right here, which is the drawing number for this sheet. So those two pieces of information are included on the quote when we have the plans. If we don't have the plans, they do the takeoff. Obviously, it can't be included in there. Now, when you get a full set of plans, one of the nice things that you get with that is you have the ability, almost all of them are always going to be bookmarked. And this has all the sheets on there. And so you can navigate through these plans really quickly. I can go through here and I don't need overall floor plans. I don't need dimension plans. I don't need, I don't necessarily need to look at the demo plans, but I can go through here and see, oh, here we are. Here's some reflected ceiling plans. And so now I'm in a reflected ceiling plan of the basement. That's the overall, and these are the different sections. Level one's a little bit easier to see. So typically this is how they do it, especially on the larger buildings. This is an overall, and then it's broken down in here by different sections of that room or that floor, right? One of the things that you will see in here is on this side is a lot of information. A lot of it is not relevant to us, but some of it is. And what you have at the top are, like here, it has reflected ceiling plans, right? General notes. So every reflected ceiling plan is going to have this on there. And then as you scroll down, you're going to see sheet notes. These are going to be specific to just this sheet, and that you can see that they're numbered here. As you go through, anything that's just circle that has just a number, no other information, that is going to correlate directly to a sheet note. Some designers use letters instead of numbers, but the concept is the same. So you're curious what that is, you can go down here and it says that's a wireless access point. 11 points to that, right? Down here you have another one. There's two more. There's another note for both of these sections. It's the same note, but note 1. Up here you have note 3 for this whole section, right? So that gives you more detail about what you're trying to accomplish. So in that one, it has clouds, right? Note 3 has clouds. And so that says above ceiling clouds to be open to the structure, painted black. So we know that it's going to be open, suspended from a structure. That gives us some insight into what we need to, how we need to quote, right? The next thing is cut-throughs. Cut-throughs are very important and they help us a lot. They are indicated by these types of markings. Where there's a circle, it has, and this is a drawing number, right? So it's 5E on sheet A11.5. That's the sheet and that's the drawing number. Now, when we have a full set of plans in its original format, we can do things like this. I can click on that and it takes me right to there. And it tells you this is that drawing. And I know I go, this is the cut through. This is what we're looking at. So that's one of the real key benefits of having a full set of plans. I'm going to go back over here to my bookmarks and I'm going to go down to the elevations. Okay. So elevations, again, this is what's on the wall. So each one of these is a particular wall that tells you what you're going to see if you're just looking at it. Now, one of the reasons we like to have full sets, especially with elevations, is if you look at something like this wall right here, this wall is at an angle. But what we're seeing is not that wall on the angle. We're seeing from this point to this point in a flattened space. And so if we take a dimension of from here to here, that dimension is not going to give us what that true length of that wall is, right? We need to know what the angle that wall is on. And so when we have plans like this, I can see there's cut throughs here. So I'm going to go and click on that. It's going to take me to this drawing, and here's that wall. Oops. So that's the angle, but all you're seeing is from here to here in a flattened view. So if we took a dimension, it would be from here straight across, which isn't the same distance as what that wall is, right? And so that's what helps us determine, a lot of the things that become questions and assumptions that we have to make if we only have a limited set of plans. And then scaling. Each one of these drawings will indicate what your scale is. So you'll notice here, this scale is 3/8 inch is equal to 1 foot. But then if you go to one of the other drawings, this one is scaled at 1/2 inch is equal to 1 foot. So a lot of that scale can help us determine when we got to take measurements from things of how it works. And if you have PDF, printed a PDF, and you try and scale and use a measurement tool in a drawing that the scale is off on the drawing itself, it messes with things greatly. So that's one of the reasons original PDFs is our preferred method. And then sometimes it can, when it prints, it'll print this is an image, this is an image, and this is an image. And sometimes it'll even print this as 2 images, which means I can't take a measurement from here all the way to here. It stops and says, scale doesn't work that far. So some of the things that work well with original PDFs as opposed to the printed images. But that is a quick walkthrough of what you can see, how you can identify them, where to see things. Now I kind of want to open it up to you to questions because, like I said, we've gotten a lot of requests about plans and how to read them, what just having more knowledge about them. I wanted to do a quick overview. I could spend hours talking about how to read plans, but I don't think anybody wants that. So what questions do you guys have that you want to know about learning about plans?
So Lynn asked, when you were doing the click-throughs,
Yeah.
Is that only possible with Bluebeam?
No, I'm not in Bluebeam right now. I'm in Adobe. So any PDF viewer that you have, if you go on here and you'll be able to tell if you have an original set, because when you go through, it'll give you the little hand icon and it'll take you directly to where that one is at. And there's another one right here. And you can just keep bouncing through each one of these. Oh, that's an even closer up detail of it, right? So if you have a full set, they're linked and you can navigate. Once you start to break these up and put them back together, that link is gone and you can't do that. Really, you can only use that feature in full sets. But yeah, you don't have to have Bluebeam to do that.
Is there any preference between a DWG and a PDF?
PDFs. DWGs, you can't really open them in Bluebeam. We just convert them. If that's what you can get, we'll take it. We use Autodesk free converter to convert it into a PDF. But PDFs, if that's what we can get, that's our preferred file type.
That's all we have in the chat. If anybody else wants to come off mute and has any questions.
I know plans can be scary. Plans can be daunting. You don't look at them very often. But, that's one of the reasons we chose to do this session is because of the questions and requests we've gotten about having a little bit more knowledge about these. So if you're too shy, feel free to ask me later. Ask me down the road, shoot me an email, give me a phone, give me a call. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
What percentage of your projects are you able to find additional opportunity in by seeing the plans? Or do you have like a story that you can relate that you found an entirely new space in a building that completely unlocked a project? Anything like that?
So I would say when we have full sets of plans, I would say 50% of the time we find other opportunity in there. That not 50% of all of our opportunities that we're going to get because we don't have full sets of plans for all of our opportunities. But it's at least 50% when we get a full set of plans. This one in particular, there was a lot of clouds and a lot of felt wall panels that were going on in this space, and we were just asked to quote the wood, right? And in having a full set, we were able to say, hey, we can also do these other things. And now we have a quote out to them that they're going to submit for a value engineered opportunity to increase our project size. This one happens to still be pending. It was, I think, Arctura, so we have a good chance as long as they're, like the alternatives that we provided. We have a really good chance. Arctura is a very high priced product. They're very proud of their product, and we do really good competing against them.
Dan, I've got a two-part question.
Yep.
The first one is from just a practical standpoint. Can you just give us a quick, simple script on how a solutions consultant would approach a customer about getting the plans and why they need them.
Yeah. The quick script is, hey, our team's going to go through, do a takeoff and provide a quote. A lot of times they need the detailed drawings as well to help them understand how it's going to go into the space. So if you have a full set of plans, it makes it really easy for them to navigate, find those detailed drawings, and make sure that there's nothing that's being overlooked, either by us or potentially by you. But we're all on the same page and we're getting you exactly what you're hoping for. One of the things that we've talked about in the past is, a designer can design a beautiful space. We can build a beautiful product, but if it doesn't go into the space the way it's supposed to, is all for naught, right? And so having these detailed drawings allows us to see, because a lot of times, they look at millwork and they say, hey, millwork can be attached this way, we're going to do that. And they have mitered corners, right? A lot of times they'll put mitered corners in there because they're thinking about this like millwork. Well, we can't miter our corners. And what we found is if we talk about that up front and we explain what they're going to see and how the edge band is staying to match, you'll see the seam or the joint where it sits. But it's going to be, grain structure and color tone is going to match throughout the piece. They're okay with that. What they don't like is the product gets built, installed, they show up to look at it, and now they're not seeing a mitered corner when they drew a mitered corner, right? And so those are the types of things, the miscommunication and the assumptions that may not get relayed to the architect if we are just quoting a contractor and there's maybe a little bit of back and forth there. But those are the types of things of why when we see this and how you can explain, like, the detailed drawings really help make sure that we're all on the same page about how this is going into the space. And a lot of times they're not sure. I know a lot of you have had this experience where your architects are like, hey, I like the product. Help me know what hardware I need to do. How are we going to install this? I need drawings to put those details into their, final CDs, right? So they're going to understand why we need them when you just say that simple bit of, hey, a full set of plans allows them to see the detailed drawings. And so they know that how it's going into the space and that we're all on the same page and we're aligned. They're going to completely understand that and know, and they're like, yeah, cool. I'll get that over to you. What was the second part to the question, Keith?
I guess this is more of a comment and also a question, but when we're looking at PDF plans or specs, there's a hotkey trick where you can just do Control F and then put in your keyword. It's going to search the entire document. Yeah. You mentioned looking for other opportunities in these documents. You can type in Control F and then type dry erase, or you can do wood. You can look for other opportunities even in or out of the acoustic environment. I wanted to make sure that wasn't a part of just my version of Acrobat, but I think that's pretty universal. If you want,
you can do that, or even just hit the search bar right here, right? But here's the other piece. This is I touched on it before, forgot to show it to you. It's the finish schedule. So this is in here and it's broken out. And this just tells you the tag, what the call tag is, the description, the manufacturer, the product, and it goes down through here. And so you can see here, interior architectural woodwork. This is all here. The description, they don't have a manufacturer. They don't know who is going to do this right now. Right. And so you can go through all of this, and here's your acoustical ceiling panels. You can see that's just ACT grid, right? And if it goes through, here's your wall covering. Here's sound absorbing wall units, right? There's AccuFelt on here. There's Armstrong Tectum, right? So we don't even need to search the plans themselves page by page. We can come to this finish schedule and be like, okay, now I want to search AP03. it's going to go through and you can just, sometimes it does take a minute, but it'll search the entire document and take you to that page of where you're going to see it.
Powerful tool.
Yeah. And we use this, we use the finish schedules to search right off the bat. Helps us even, that's where we always start, is with the finish schedule if we have a full set. We go there and then we use the search feature to find what pages they are, get the details that we need, and then extract those out and just use those. And then that way we're not dealing with 162 pages. I probably only need 22 pages of this document. This is how we separate that out instead of having to go line by line. So here's the APO3, right? And again, sorry, call tags. That's going to be on your elevations and your RCPs. So when you go through and you have this, it's going to tell you, here's APO1 is what you're doing there. This call tag is P7. P is always going to be paint. So that's color 7. This is just chipboard that's painted color 7, right? But those are your call tags. So that's how it tells you what is going in which space. But yeah, that finish schedule will have all the different things: the millwork, the dry erase boards, the TVs, the wall coverings. I think you saw on this one here, there was a Coruscant wall covering. But that's how you can help increase your wallet share. Sorry.
Questions pouring in.
A couple questions pouring
Got
in.
some questions coming in.
Yeah. What was the first question?
Scroll back to the bottom. When you see this on the finish schedules, do you offer alternate solutions to us, or do we search as well? If you do offer, what is the best way for you to communicate with us, and will be lower his price?
Sorry, I was typing really fast. Will the price be lower? Because like if we see an alternate and we're trying to,
Great question.
switch
Yeah.
something out.
Yeah.
only way
So,
to get it- yeah.
what happens? We get a quote like this. This comes in, we get the plans, we look through it, we see that there's this AccuFelt product on here. We're going to quote what we were asked for, and then we're going to reach out. Randy or our project coordinator, we're going to reach out to them and say, hey, we saw there's also this opportunity. Would you like us? Would they like a quote for that as well? He's going to coordinate and say, hey, we can do this. And usually we'll send these in separate quotes. So what we've been asked for, what we're specified for, and then, hey, here's something else that we can do. Now, because there is value in a single source supplier, we don't always, like right off the bat, we're not going to put a discount because we're trying to VE this. A lot of that also is, especially with felt, a lot of the AccuFelt, the turf, we typically come in a little bit lower price than them, or somewhere near that. If it's not below, it's at or right there. And so they're gonna look at this as like, I can get it from one supplier. If I can, I will. Right. So we don't want to hurt ourselves on the front end by automatically putting discounts on our products that we're trying to value engineer. Right. But it is open to a conversation and say, hey, we sent you the 2 quotes, where we come in on pricing wise. Hey, since we're going to be your single source supplier, you're going to save on shipping. With our portion getting larger, we can probably work with you on price. Where do we need to be at to get that additional scope? Let me see what I can do. Right. So it can create conversations where we can get that. Right. So we can find ways to help that, but not from the get-go. Right off the bat, we're going to kind of do our standard pricing on there. Okay. Next question.
Did you color the product areas related to kind of acoustics and mode or Sonus?
On this one here, I did not. So this came from the contractor that sent this to us. He color coded this saying, hey, here's what I want you to look at. But what we get a lot of times, and what we got initially, was all of the drawings that you see that have these color codes. that's all they sent the first time, and we didn't have any of the details. And we looked at this drawing, we're like, we need more detail. So we told them, like, hey, details let us know a lot more information. Can you provide a full set? And they're like, sure, here you go. And then they sent us the full set. So they initially pulled certain drawings and sent it to us, and we just kindly asked for more, and they gave it to us. Sometimes when we kindly ask for more, they won't give it to us. It is very difficult at times, especially contractors, to get full sets. But we did not do that. Now, it'll be a similar thing when we have our deliverable. It'll be similar to this, where it'll be highlighted in there. Like, these are the sections. It'll have a legend on. We will put a legend on here as well that shows, hey, here's what's been quoted. And this is the sizes, the quantities, everything that's on there. So once we get to that point and that output happens, you'll start to see that when we come July.
Whitney, did Daniel answer your question? I know you've had a kind of a follow-up question.
Yes,
Okay.
I think so.
Because she wrote not necessarily from the get-go, but later in
Like, as he was saying, like, we're not going to like go down low in price or, you know, immediately go down from the very beginning, like to offer an alternate. But as we have those conversations with the client and say, you know, we can offer solutions, you know, one-stop shop, like eventually.
Yeah, if we need to win jobs, it's just like anything else.
Yeah.
Even if they're like, hey, this is a little bit out of our price range, let's see what we can do. But we don't want to hurt ourselves from the beginning if we don't need to, right? There's some Artura products out there that we have a light product that's 30% less expensive at our standard pricing. We don't want to go even further than that if we don't have to, right? Okay, is that all of the questions?
That's all the questions.
Okay. We are going to go back to our beautiful presentation. Yeah. There's not a lot more. There's Activate. So really, we don't have a lot, like, there's not a lot of challenge in this one like some of our previous ones. So first, I want to know if anybody has completed some of the previous activation or activate goals. Anybody use Millwork project to talk about acoustics, or has anybody asked a question to probe for more information rather than, hey, what's the status of this project, on a follow-up? Anybody want to share anything? Someone would like to share? Nobody? Okay. It's okay if you don't want to share what you've been doing. We do ask that you try to incorporate some of these things in there. For the Activate for this, when we send out the recording and everything, there will be a short 1-minute survey about plans and takeoffs. We ask that you complete that once it's sent out later this week. And
Guys, and let me suggest, why don't we backtrack, and as I send the follow-up emails with the videos out, why don't we summarize the challenges at the top of the email?
perfect.
I think everybody's embraced the data. They're loving the courses. They're watching the videos. Let's put those in there as a reminder. So I'll make sure I get with both of you and get that at the top. We'll keep adding to it as we send the emails out.
Perfect.
That works.
So much shorter one today. Appreciate all of you and everything that you guys do. And your time to join us. And hopefully these are helpful, and we always welcome feedback, positive and negative. Not everybody embraces negative feedback the way we do. So if no one has any other questions, we are done for the day, and you guys can enjoy the rest of your days.
Thank you. It was very helpful.
Yeah, thanks. That's great, guys.
Thank you.
Yep.